It says Z the ass kicker. Yes, Z, you are an ass kicker, and I'm right with you, brother. I'm putting foots to asses too. Z the ass kicker. Yep, that's his new shit. Z the ass kicker.
Look,
So
I always say it like on the real tip. If every person who was even half like we are just went outside, stopped doing what they were doing, stopped participating in the system, and just started talking to people, talking to their neighbors, getting in people's faces and talking, this game would be over. We've already reached a critical mass. See, and that's why I think, Ian, they're going to sink the whole fucking system because it's done for them. They have to sink it. They knew this was going to happen. They had to let this information out. We're not an accident. We're the price they had to pay for their domination. You see, they had to institute the internet and the whole IT revolution to enslave the whole world with their technology. The price they had to pay was, in doing so, they had to let out all their secrets. It's called the revelation and the apocalypse for a reason. Okay, we're not an accident. We're not even that special. We're just the ones that had the balls enough to look at the information and admit it and accept it. Okay, we're the price they had to pay for their domination. They had to let some of the captives free. But here's the question: now that we have the information, what do we do with it? That's where, like Boy was saying, you have choice and free will, because we're the ones that have the information. If you ask me, we don't even have a choice. It's our duty. Because once you know these things, you have this information, you're duty bound. You're duty bound to God and to humanity, okay? You don't have a choice. You have to act against these people. I'm telling you, the war is here, people. It's in your fucking face. You can't hide anymore, all right? Stop hiding. Don't be scared of these people, all right? Get right with God, people. It's time. Sorry, Ian. I can keep going like this, Ian.
oh,
I'm
don't
just so over
apologize.
it at this point, Ian, because we act like there's nothing going on, and we act because like they took their foot's off our throat for 3 seconds, like they're still not fucking attacking us.
That's
You know
Z,
what I mean?
Thank
Z,
you. No, man,
Mr.
all day
Pussy.
long, bro. I need that too, and we need
Yeah,
to
we
remind
all need that
ourselves
energy.
that they haven't pulled back on anything. We have to have balance with it. There's things to celebrate and appreciate, but at the same time, there's another side that we ignore sometimes, and sometimes it's best to ignore it. But for me, if one of these things are happening, we have a big problem. You know.
Where's the
So,
line? Where's the line? How far are we gonna let these people go with us? Are you fucking serious?
You right, bro. I always thought that. Like, where do we draw the line in the sand? Like, where's the line where we ain't gonna let you keep fucking stepping? Like, bruh, like when are we gonna draw the line? Like, bitch, don't step over this line or it's going down. Because I'm like, for me, in my energy, I try to calm it down because I'm really on go mode. I'm always on this time. I'm always on this type of time. Like, how long are we gonna keep on letting these motherfuckers step over the line before we draw the line and say, bitch, if you step over this line this time, we fucking you up. When
They
is that
engine
time come?
they engineered passivity into the society with their religions.
Yeah, I
You
was
know,
just about to say that. Yeah, I was
mm-hmm.
just about to say that.
That was engineered.
Religion,
They created
religion made us.
religions.
It made us. It made us passive. It made us like real naive and just soft as fuck. I'm sorry, but every
Mm-hmm.
time you want to do something, oh, well, is this imaginary man in the sky gonna do something wrong to me? Like,
I'm
come
tired of
on,
religions. And
it
now I'm
it's
literally
speaking to
made
all.
us. It
Yeah, and
made
now
us
hold on. I'm
different,
going to
bro.
speak to all the people who've been talking to me about God
You
lately
gotta,
and been trying
you
to
gotta.
come at me about God. All right, I'm going to try to talk to some of these people because I'm tired of hearing what you have to say. I'm really tired of it, and you could save it, okay? I'm tired of hearing what you're telling me about the God they gave you. I'm just tired of it, all right? You're coming at me with it. You're just saying words that were given to you by somebody. I'm tired of it. You're trying to make me look like I'm the villain. I'm the one trying to fucking tell you what's going on. But I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep talking. You're not going to fucking stop me, honestly.
Hey,
2020 was a very big year. It was the year of the Grand Conjunction. Okay, so every 20 years
Yeah.
there's every 20 years there's a Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. They line up. Okay, but for some reason 2020 was considered a Grand Conjunction. There was something different about that one. Not quite educated on the subject enough to speak on what the difference between that conjunction was, but there seems to
Well,
be some significance between this Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, and we seem to go through 20-year cycles of 20 years of Jupiter and 20 years of Saturn.
what
Um,
about the Shmitra year? The Shmitra of a Shmitra is kind of a thing that they've been playing quite a few
Shemitah.
games with.
It's called the Shemitah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the pronunciation.
No, yeah, I I've meant to look more into that myself. Especially how much I hear about it.
What is it? What's it mean? What do you mean by that?
I think it has to do with the some cyclical
7 years
procession.
forgiving of debt, and I really have to look into it more. My dad.
It's the Jubilee. It's a Jubilee. Yeah. In the Israelites had a conception of a Jubilee. There's a book of Jubilee actually that they left out of the Bible. It's part of the Apocrypha. But they do mention it in the Bible. It's a 7-year thing where all debts are forgiven and things like that. It was part of their culture.
It's supposed to be a jubilee of a jubilee or something. My dad and I were talking about it one day.
Well, they're calling it a great reset. That's why I keep telling everybody I think they're going to crash the system. Call it a jubilee or whatever you want to call it. Basically, you forget about debt. You see, you forgive all debt. You crash the system. You forget about debt, but you put everybody on a centralized digital currency. Do you understand?
Right.
It's going to be a trick. They're going to tell you they're going to forgive all your debt. This debt they created, people. They created this debt. They put you in debt, and then they're going to forgive it. And they're going to put you on a centralized digital currency to control you. You're going to fall for it because they're telling you, they're giving you something. They created the debt. That's not yours. They put you in a debtor system. This is a debtor system. It's called usury, people. There's a term called usury. Look it up. Okay? It's actually a sin if you want to know the fucking truth. But anyway, it's how they run this world. These doctors sold their souls to this world. They took an oath to do no harm. And any doctor who participated in this whole debacle over the last 2 or 3 years, well, you're going to get yours. Don't worry. You may get your earthly rewards here, that you love so much and you didn't want to let go of. You love your earthly rewards so much that you sold your soul and you hurt people. And you're going to pay. But I'm not going to sit back and just let your karma take you. I'm going to bring it to all you motherfuckers. And if you don't think I'm going after this whole system, then you haven't fucking been listening to a word I said. Because I'm literally coming for all you. And I'm not going to fucking stop, and I'm dead serious. And I know you're all listening to me. I know you're listening to me. Trust me. And just know I'm coming for you. That's all. There's going to be a lot of people coming for you. Just telling you. You fucks overplayed your hand is what you did. You overplayed your hand. You stepped too far. And now you're going to get it all, you fucks. I'm just tired of these people, guys. I'm just tired of them. I'm not ever going back to where I am right now. You understand? I took my sword out. My sword doesn't go away until there's blood on it. Do you understand? I don't unsheath my sword. If I unsheath my sword, it will not be returned until there's blood on it. You could fucking damn well believe that. My sword is out, motherfuckers.
All the motherfuckers. They got hell to pay. If you motherfuckers think it's a game, you better go back and listen to what the fuck Z just said, because we're all tired of the bullshit. Now, you want us to come out and play? God damn it, we out here. Let's go.
Hey, you know what? Thanks, Z. You gave me the energy I need, man. And it's like, these motherfuckers are going to pay, and I'm going to help pay them back in this life or the fucking next. I got that warrior vibe, and I come to experience to fucking bring balance and expose these motherfuckers, and I will every single life. 1 billion lives. You better fucking believe it, people.
What do you think we're fucking doing here?
I know Z from another age when he was like a samurai, just like me. And when he takes the sword out of his sheath, and he said it's not gonna go back until it's got some blood in it. It's not gonna be any harikiri. It's not gonna be any harikiri, guys.
Exactly. I ain't going out. They have no honor. I put my honor aside for this fight because they have no honor. There will be no quarter given. I'm saying that right now. Give these people no quarter. They don't deserve it.
Not a dime.
See all these innocent people line up for their shit.
Anybody who's trying to kill, anybody who will allow themselves for some money to fucking denigrate the livelihood of life. You know what? You heard what Z said, bitch. We at your throat because we tired of it, man. We know who y'all are. We see you, and guess what? When 2020 happened, we all start saying, "Ooh, you bitches! Hey, you bitches is in trouble." Because when there's motherfuckers like Z, motherfuckers like Ian, motherfuckers like Cage, motherfuckers like OTW, motherfuckers like Triple R come on the same goddamn panel and get to talking this shit, you bitches in trouble.
I'm serious about this, and I'll stand with you guys all day. I'll go to war at the drop of a hat, no hesitation, because they
We're
could
already
take
at
this
war, Ian.
bodysuit. Yeah, they could take this bodysuit to whatever they want to, but they're not getting the part that came in it and leaving it. I want to be on my own journey, and I'm sick of this shit. And we're at war, and we've been at war for a while. And if one of these things is going on, it's a war. Of all the things that they're doing, and as much positive I want to be, and like this and that, but you really look, like I said before. Now think about this: what are they pulling back on? Really, it's pointed out to me, people. Something that they do that is
Nothing.
not acceptable. I don't see them pulling back on nothing.
They're all in.
That's
They're
it.
they're psychopaths. Really, they're complete psychopaths. They're sold over to darkness. There's no coming back for them.
Before saying sorry, they claim amnesty. Before saying sorry, before even listen, amnesty is something that might be claimed or declared at the end of a process. Yeah. It's not something to begin with. It's not something to begin with. It's not something you just throw out there. It's like it's no, dude. Then you don't understand what the term means. It's not
exactly.
It's not forgiveness. Amnesty is something else. You know.
If you're gonna waive,
it's not something you throw in the field. That's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh,
exactly. If you're gonna wave the white flag as you're coming in charging at me, I'm supposed to honor that white flag because you put a white flag up as you're fucking charging me. I'm supposed to honor that. You better. No white flags. At this point, it's over.
If you charging me, I don't give a fuck what color your flag is. Bitch, you better put it in your pocket and pull your knife and your gun out. If you charging me, you better charge me with some real shit. Don't charge me with no fucking flag. I don't give a fuck what color it is.
Bro, and you know what? All you Trump supporters and any politician that still support that clown after giving, we're not talking about any specific topic, and obviously we're not giving any type of advice, but that gave liability immunity. I stared at that document for fucking 2 fucking years, and I'm done. I'm done with it. So all you people that still support that fucking piece of shit with what he did and what he went along with. Shame on you, motherfuckers, dude.
They have no standing. They have no standing. Their laws have no power, people. Stop following their laws. The laws are just set up to protect them and control you. Stop clinging to this legal system. Stop clinging to the authorities. The authorities aren't here to help you. You understand? The authorities will not help you. Bond together in communities. The time is done for this. Get off their money. It's over for these people. Take them down. Stop playing their games and stuff. These people they're not going to help you. The system gives you nothing.
They don't give a fuck.
Let go of it.
They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
Nature works it out, Ian.
Yeah.
Nature works it out. Everybody has a role, dog. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like I was saying before. Just look at nature. You find your role, and your role is valuable, whatever that role is. Look at all these tribes that exist and stuff. When you're in a tribe, your interests are aligned with the other members of your tribe. Your interests are directly in sync with each other, okay? So your survival is based on the people in your family and your community. But what does this system do? It pits us against each other. It creates a zero-sum game around their fake shit currency, okay? It makes it a dog-eat-dog world where you got to step on your neighbor, where if you want that promotion at work, you got to step on somebody's face to get it. That's not how humans really work. When we work in communities like we're supposed to, there's very little incidents for conflict. Exactly. There's very little incidents for conflict. Yeah, exactly.
I know that for a fact. It doesn't take long for them to grow once you start working in them. I was involved with a community garden in Australia and the Northern Territory, and you just went in and you dug a plot over and you put in whatever you felt you wanted to grow, and by that you had the availability to go and take a little bit out of each of everyone else's, and they had the right to do the same with yours.
Exactly, Dean. You'll notice something about humans is that the more you're left to function naturally, the better you are. Look at health. Just look at the whole concept of health. Sometimes the best thing to do for your health is nothing. Sometimes just sitting there, just don't eat for a couple of days and drink some water, maybe sip some broth. You might
Drink
feel
some
better.
water.
Yeah, drink some water. You know, if you're not feeling mentally well, you go out and you do something outside. All of a sudden, you're feeling better, right? You didn't have to go to a psychologist. You just went outside and maybe you just went outside and chopped some wood. Maybe you just did something.
You spurred me into drinking water with just talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, bro. This system is
Yeah.
fucking bullshit, dude. In
Yeah.
so many ways.
I'm on a tear about I've been on a tear about the system, Ian. I've been like on a tear about it because there's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but I think right now this is because I see a lot of people just getting lulled back into the holidays, and everyone's just going to go along and think we're just going to move on with the last 2 years. The last 2 years was just a warning sign, people, what's to come. If you can't see it, you're fucking blind. I'm going to be honest with you. The last 2 years was just a warning sign. They were just flexing their muscles to show you how fucking powerful they are. They shut the whole world down in a day. I want you to think about that, people. Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense? Do you really believe that there's sovereign nations, that these nations they govern themselves and they're independently sovereign when they all went along with the same agenda and shut the world down for 2 years?
I'm a sovereign being in that I do not consent to anything the fucking world puts out to me. I'm a sovereign being to Mother Earth.
One second. Keep going because these are the parts I want to clip out, and now some of them I can't.
No, it's Ian, I learned, Ian, you could still clip them. Some of them interlude parts are pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
I learned that, but I know exactly what you're saying, dude, because I've been doing this. But as long as it ain't too bad of an interlude, but here's the thing, man. It's exactly like you're saying, man. There's the world and there's the earth, man.
Yes.
That's why the Christ being said, "Be in the world, but not of the world." We have to be in the world. We can't escape it. If you're here, you have to be in the world. But you don't have to be of the world.
We don't have to be of it.
Exactly.
You don't have to think like it and think of, and use its actions to be your actions. We can live a beautiful, peaceful life on this beautiful place, this realm we've been given, which I believe is a really beautiful place when you go out into the nature itself.
Kronos is the god, and they also represented as Kronos and Saturn are the same deity, they're the same figure. So Kronos is considered the god of time, but is also associated with Saturn. As Cage points out, a lot of these types of, if you again look at the later incantation to the Jewish culture, when they were brought into Babylon, you see the Jews were brought into Babylon 14 generations after David, after Solomon, and 14 generations before the supposed birth of the Christ figure. You understand? So the Jews were brought out of their homeland into Babylon, which place you see a lot of these things start to pop up. There's something with the Babylonian gods that's carried throughout time here. And then you can see these representations in and when you see the Greek Greek culture, and then the later in Rome, the Greek culture preceded the Roman culture.
Right.
But here's the thing: you can see these same gods represented through all these different cultures. You said different names. They go all the way back, like I said, to the Sumerians and the Norse gods. The Norse gods represented them as like Zeus and not Zeus, like Thor and all that stuff, and Odin and stuff. But in the end, likely these are just probably different depictions of the same deities,
Right.
You see similar deities in Central and South America as they had in Egypt. When you look at the figure of Thoth, the Egyptian figure of Thoth, they call him Thoth the Atlantean or Thoth the Atlantean, and you can see later on depictions in the Christ figure. You can see depictions of the Trinity in Egyptian culture when you look at Isis, Osiris.
I was just gonna say Semiramis, Nimrod, and Horus or Tammuz. They all have the same names, same stories.
Right. You can see these depictions being carried out, You could even look at the Hindu Vedic culture, and you could see depictions of their gods in the ancient Israelite cultures. When you look at Abraham was said to be the father of the Jews, and his seed was supposed to be like stars and spread through this whole world. Abraham's the father of the Jewish people, of the Israeli people. It was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay? The line came through Jacob. But here's my point. Abraham may just likely be a representation of the Hindu god Brahma, okay? One of the major Hindu gods is Brahma, Brahma, Abraham. There's another female god called Saraswati. Abraham's wife in the Old Testament, his name was Sarah. I'm trying to say, you see these same archetypal representations across cultures. People think the Old Testament Bible was original, but no, it wasn't. It was just a retread.
Socrates and Plato.
Yeah, it's a retread of older conceptions of these different deities. I always like pointing that out for people because they want to hold up that Bible as holy and they want to hold it up as the Word, but they're not understanding that these stories were written way before. How can it be the infallible
Word of God when it has been manipulated? There's so many different translations and all these different authors. How is it in the infallible Word of God when it's not one book, one author? It's been manipulated, manuscript.
Exactly. And think about the word holy, for example. Like it has holes in it. Like it's holy. You have like a holy fabric of something, right? There's holes in it. It's right in the word. There's a reason why they use the word holy and holy. Like holy being there could be holes in it. You know,
the Apple bitch always wants to change it to hokey.
Hocus pocus. Enough of that.
Well, they say Bible. Well, I said
Bible.
I said that the Babylonian god Baal. Baal. It's in there. The name Jesus. Yeah. The name Jesus is a Greek name. If he even existed, his name certainly was not Jesus. There was no J in Hebrew language. If he had a name, it was probably like Joshua. It's Yahshua. The name is Aramaic. Aramaic is a particular dialect of Hebrew. There was no J. The name Jesus is a Greek name. It means Jesus. Jesus is Jesus. It means Hail Zeus. The Greeks used the figure of Jesus and conformed it to the archetype of Zeus. If he lived at all, his name was Yahshua, okay? And he spoke Aramaic if he even existed. The reality is the figure of John the Baptist was much more of a historically accurate figure than the figure of Jesus. We don't know if Jesus even existed, but John the Baptist seems like he did. John the Baptist was a member of an Essene monastic group who practiced natural healing practices, okay? They hid these practices from us. Jesus and his group and his group may have just been healers. They may have been healing people. If you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, you can see their healing practices in it. They'd like to suppress this knowledge. I said this before. Jesus fasted in the desert for 40 days. Okay, this was likely a ritual and a practice that they had to go through to achieve some kind of monkhood or mastery. He said he was tended to angels in the desert. That's probably real. Jesus was probably performing what was called an Essene monastic ritual that they all had to go through. It was probably an alchemical transmutation. It was probably a crucible they had to put themselves through to achieve some type of Christhood. You know, any type of greatness has to be tested. You have to be born in fire. Why do you think they went to the desert and put themselves through such things? So the figure Jesus that's presented to us is probably quite different than the person he actually was. But here's my point. These deities are just represented throughout times and just represented in different ways throughout these different cultures. You know, they're probably likely the same being, just being repeated throughout time.
Just archetypes, exactly.
They have to gatekeep this information, people. It's just a huge labyrinth. That's why we keep saying, you want to get any sense of truth in this world, just go inside, because you ain't going to find it outside of yourself. I'll tell you that right now, not in this world.
No,
I think that's what the biggest trick is. Yeah, I think that's what the biggest trick is to get you to look outside of yourself for some kind of truth. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's just a rabbit chase, man. They want you looking everywhere, man, because like Ian was saying earlier, every time you find a truth, there's just more the questions. Every question you answer leads to 4 more questions at least. It's a fractal. You know, it really is that, man. I'm not saying knowledge isn't good, but self-knowledge is the best, you know? Like Ian said before, what's more valuable, a bunch of books or some trees, some beautiful trees? We cut down beautiful trees to make books, you know? Where are we really giving our value to? That tree would be probably so much more valuable. You know, we were talking before about the Akashic record. It's quite likely that all the information, entire realities, is basically, you know, written down in some kind of library that you have access to. You know, it's quite possible. If you look at the human genome, your genetics can encode an insane amount of information, more than we could probably even comprehend, man.
Yeah, but isn't that what an awakening would be, man? Like something like that would be unlocked inside of you? Because I'll tell you something. Before I was awake, I was a dumbass fucking normie, just like everybody else. NPC, I guess. That's exactly what I was. I was maybe awake at a certain. I was awake maybe at a certain level, but not like something unlocked in my mind.
It's about letting go. Once you let go and you realize it's effortless. I always tell people, you know, you want to operate smoothly, become a vessel, tune your body, learn how to resonate with this world, learn how to find the resonant frequencies of this world and resonate with them. You know, the world will guide you. You won't even have to do anything. What do you really need? What do you really need? I keep telling people, the world gives you everything you need. This isn't complex. What does a bird need? A bird has everything it needs. Look at any animal in nature. Look at any animal. It has everything it needs. Why do you think you're different? You have everything. You have everything. The only difference is we work as communities. We work in groups. The only reason we're all messed up is because they took us out of our communities. They destroyed the families and they put us onto the system. That's why we're at such dis-ease. If we were left to function naturally, we'd be just fine. Guys, we didn't create this technology, by the way. This technology didn't come from us. It's not a bunch of smart guys in a room inventing stuff. Trust me. All right? This technology comes from somewhere else. It's not ours. It's probably used to control us. They play on our emotions. They take our emotions are our biggest strength because our emotions will bind us. Our emotions bind us into families and communities. So what do? They play on they turn our biggest strength into our biggest weakness. And that's often the case in any war. Oftentimes, your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. Look at Star Wars. Look at the Death Star. The Death Star was the ultimate killing machine in Star Wars. But guess what? All it took was one flaw, and they took out the whole thing. Sometimes your biggest strength is your biggest weakness, and ours is our emotions, and that's what they're playing on, people. So when you look at this world, when you examine this world around you, I would encourage you to look at this world void of emotions. I know it's difficult. There's principles of logic and reason that we have that you could follow. They're not hard. You can use the principles of objectivity to look at this world and try to get yourself out of your emotions. Trust me, your emotions are going to lead you nowhere in this world because your emotions have been toyed with and tampered with since the day you were born. Okay?
So when you see a child, and you be like, how in the hell is they talking like that? How are they acting like that? How is that possible? Well, guess what? That energy was just transferred to another body.
Fuck, does that make sense, man?
Yeah, the most intelligent. The most intelligent conversations I think I've ever had are with children, and I mean that too.
No, that's real, bro. That's real.
The most intelligent. I can give 100 examples. You know, I can give 100 examples. I won't though. But the most intelligent things I've ever heard in my adult life have come from children. I don't hear adults saying really anything smart. Honestly, I don't care who they are. They're just so fucking programmed at this point. They're just saying words and stuff. They're just saying babbling fucking words that make literally no sense. You know, so yeah, the children are the ones that are intelligent ones. It's the world that dumbs them down through their indoctrination. It's exactly what it is. But let me get back to what OTW was saying, because I was vibing with that. You know, it's quite possible that this is a fractal reality. You know, you can call it a multiverse or whatever. It's not a bad way to put it. You know, that term's kind of got hijacked by popular culture and stuff, but it's a good conception of the way things could be. And I'm thinking this, guys, it's quite possible, and a lot of the ancients talked about this in all their writings and ancient scriptures and stuff, is that it's possible that this multiple fractal reality universe that may exist is coalescing into one unitary dimension, right? All these fractal universes may be coalescing together, you know? So like OTW was saying, if we exist in a fractal, everything we do in each fractal reality might be coalescing now, and that might be the ultimate quote unquote karma that's coming together. We may be existing across these fractal realities.
Well, dude, think about this. Imagine those gremlins that you see when you're on DMT, but you see them when you're not on it.
It's possible, yeah.
Imagine that those overarching realities fuse together to a point where you start seeing the fairies and the gremlins and all these fantasy things that you, because they're probably all there behind the veil.
Well, the ancients talked about. Look, we could start off looking at the ancient Vedics. Okay, they have what's called a yuga cycles. They're like these overarching, very long cycles. Okay, the cycles take thousands of years. They say we're in what's called the Kali Yuga cycle, which is their end. The Mayans, of course, talked about this time as a great transfer. Obviously, if you look at the New Testament and all the writings in Revelation, they talk about this time of a great transition, right? So whatever your conception is of this time, all these diverse cultures are pointing towards this time as some kind of transition point, right? So, whatever's happening now, it could be so many different things, but, in terms of, where we go. And Ian, I wanted to bring this up. What you were saying is that it could be both, right? So there could be an idea of reincarnation, and I think that's very plausible that there is, but all these cultures that I just mentioned, and especially the Bible, the New Testament, Revelation talks about the end of the ages, right? So there's these different ages. We may come back, but there may be an ultimate end to this reality. We might be living in it now. So it's possible, yeah, Ian, you might have came, somebody could have been a killer, but they might have had another chance. But I'm thinking it's quite possible time's running out. And this may be the time where it's running out, where the judgment may happen. And you guys know I think we judge ourselves after we leave here, but that's obviously just a theory. But I think there's a strong indication that this is the end of ages.
Maybe that's why the enemy does what they do, because they think they know, after this that it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? Or maybe it works the other way, where now they're controlling by doing what they do, they're controlling their consciousness to like kind of stay here and not move beyond,
Well, Ian, it said they were cast out. It said they were cast out of God's presence, and they were damned to this reality. They might be really pissed off about it. How would you feel? How would you feel if you were in God's presence and he fucking kicked you out? Well, how would you feel? Think about it. This is how I think anymore, Ian. This is kind of where my thoughts are, dude.
Yeah, because imagine hell being just being not in the presence of God.
Yeah. So there's supposedly these angels and stuff. Who knows what the real thing is? Like I said, it might be us too. It might be us too. This game might be way different than we look at it. We look at it as us versus them type of thing. It might be real fucking way more mixed up than that. Do you ever see Game of Thrones? You think the good guy's the bad guy and the bad guy's the good guy, and you don't know, and then one guy changes and there's alliances you never even thought of. This world just might be like that, man. We're indoctrinated to think a certain way, but we don't really know what this place is. We have no fucking clue, I keep saying, it's a hard thought to think that we're the fallen ones. That's a hard fucking thought, but we don't have to think about that. You might think of the fallen ones a little different if you know you are one. I'm just trying to bring a different perspective to people.
But if we're the fallen ones, are we redeemable?
I think what happened is the fallen ones split. And I think it's a war between fallen and stuff. If you want to know the truth. Michael versus Samyaza, Yahweh. You give them different names and stuff. It seems like the Michaels and the Gabriels and these other archangels, they seem to be still in that other realm, that presence of light, but there seems to be other ones that fell here. And, the Book of Enoch gives them names and stuff. If you're to believe it, who knows? These are just information that's presented to us, Who knows if the Bible's real, It's just information. But Enoch says, and names the ones that's fallen and said why they fell. And, they actually had compassion for humans, apparently. This thing goes way deep, guys. The fallen ones, some of the fallens had compassion for humans, apparently, in these stories. They like to paint a picture of this benevolent God above us and all the ones that kind of went against him and got rejected. But who knows what the story is? Look at the story that's being written about our history right now. What do you think history is going to say about us? What do you think? What do you think history says about the people who resisted tyranny? What do you think history says about them? It paints them as basically
the bad guys.
Yeah, it paints them as enemies. What do you think we're going to paint it as? Look at the last 2 years. All the people didn't go along with the game of all this stuff, bullshit they put us through the last 2 years. Look at how, what are they going to teach in schools about us? What are they going to teach in history about us? They're going to teach us like we're the bad guys, So I don't believe anything anymore. It's like we're always saying, you just got to look inside yourself. But I just want to encourage people, look at this world in a way maybe that's unconventional to you, because it's easy. The system painted our idea of this reality. You have to understand the indoctrination goes way deep. It's purposeful. You're basically brainwashed ever since the moment you were been born. So all your thoughts are constructed through the system. It's a really difficult process to to deprogram yourself. And it goes in layers and layers and layers, and you may never get there, you know, but have compassion for yourself. It's not your fault. You were fucked with from day one, you know, but it's your job to get out of it. No one else is going to do it but you. And again, that might be the great journey in this whole realm, is to overcome that oppression. If everybody did that, Void, this war would be over tomorrow. If everybody just did the right thing.
That man actually took his responsibility, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the responsibility to humanity. When you're asked to do things against humanity, you know, you do not comply to that. You're going to.
And he just didn't comply. He just said, "Well, no, I'm just going to stack up this fluoride. I'm just going to mix it in the water." And he did that for 20 years or 30 years, and now he got caught. Well, I'm like, wow, dude, that's 20 or 30 years. Let's celebrate this, man. I
100% I saw that too. Yeah.
Right.
If every cop did that, if every soldier did that, you know, if every public employee did that, this would be a different place. If every doctor did that, the doctors have sold you out, guys. It's such a disgusting thing. I can't even take it anymore. You know, we're selling each other out. They've turned on us. And here's what I wanted to say that goes along with that. What's going on with what Ian was saying is that we have to understand about these people that we're talking about. You know, we can label them NPCs, whatever we want to talk about. We all know exactly who we're talking about and the type of people we're talking about. But just remember, they and all of us have been indoctrinated since the day we were born, okay? There's a system doing this to us. This is not natural to humanity, people. They're doing this to us. They're engineering this division. They're engineering this psychosis with humanity. This is engineered. You look what they're doing to the children from the day they're born. They're jacking them up with all these pharmaceuticals we can't even talk about. Okay, as soon as they're born, that happens. We throw them in these indoctrination camps. They broke up the nuclear family. They send mom to work, grandma and grandpa to the nursing home. This is being done to us on purpose. This isn't an accident. What are they giving us? Where did this technology get us? So I'm just trying to, you know, remind us all that because we're talking about these people. And believe me, I have a severe disdain for the way society is and my neighbors now. I have no hope in them whatsoever. But I always have to temper that with the understanding of what these people have been through. We've all been through it. Somehow we broke away. You know, maybe we could inspire them somehow to break out of it. But look, you can't wake up a hypnotized person. It's actually a violent move to do so. If someone's hypnotized, you can't just wake them up. You have to do it gently. These people are hypnotized. That's why they act. That's why they act so violently when we present them with any kind of truth. They're totally hypnotized. It's literally what it is.
There could be some sort of setting that was put here from the beginning, and that setting might look like it's ancient history. It might look like all these different tens of thousands of years, but you know, it's kind of just like in this game. Just like in this game right here, we put the setting in. The creators put all the buildings that look like it's 30 years old. Everything's put in there. But when you get in the game, you get a mind wipe. You don't know. You might go over there with your friends saying, "Dude, this is 30 years old. Oh, look at these pyramids. That's 10,000 years old." But it was all put here as a setting in the game. And there's actually not much more to it, but in that setting, you can still discover good things and wake up to something. You know what I mean? It's not just a setting. There's more to it than that. I'm not trying to downplay the setting that might be there. I'm just saying, you know, it's just got to be on the table.
Yeah, dude, because we perceive it as physical, but it's only, you know, of course we're going to perceive it as physical because we're in the same construct, right? It doesn't mean that it actually is physical as such. And the other thing about the game construct is, you know, the player, if the playable character has somebody outside the construct controlling it, you know, maybe that's your higher self, you know, and then the NPC is just a programmed system it's just a program agent of the system, you know. You know, in the simulation theory does have a lot of interesting points. You know, there's a lot of validity to a lot of things they say. You know, just because we say simulation doesn't necessarily mean computer. Ian, you brought that up before, where simulation doesn't necessarily mean computer. You know, it doesn't have to be a computer somewhere simulating this. It could just be the consciousness of God, the consciousness of some overarching, overarching presence, overarching energy. It doesn't have to be. Like I said this before, you know, and in Genesis, the first words out of Genesis says that God spoke, You know, he spoke the world into existence. He said, "Let there be light," and there was. It didn't say he constructed a machine with binary code and created a system simulation. It said he spoke using his voice. Your voice is frequency, okay? Your voice is energy, all right? It says God spoke this world into existence. You know, if you look in the canonical Gospels in the New Testament, the Gospel of John, it talks about in the beginning there was the Word, you know, and the Word, you know, the Word became God, the Word was God. It's about words and speaking. It's about frequencies, you know. So, you know, we call it a simulation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a computer simulation. In my mind, it's just language. It's just using a word to describe what this may be. If someone wants to call it a simulation or God's world or the mind of God, I mean, there's really no difference, right? You know. But I will say this: if someone's talking about a computer simulation, that we're inside some computer, you know, like it's some greater Elon Musk created something and we're in here. I'm not saying that's not possible. You know, that's, you know, it's kind of tough to think if that's true, but I don't resonate with that because again, I see that we have creative powers in this world. And if we're just a system or a software, then how do we have any power to create anything? We're just under the control of that creator. The fact that we evidence creative abilities in this realm shows against a computer construct. What you see throughout time is a suppression, a systematic suppression of the serpent knowledge throughout time. The serpent has been demonized. And we were saying before, if you look at the probably last serpent knowledge that this world ever saw was with the Druids. There seems to be some indication that the Druids took the knowledge from the ancients. The knowledge probably came from Atlantis through the land of Chem, which later became Egypt. There was a lot of conceptions of knowledge being portrayed through the serpent archetype, and the Druids embodied that. If you look at conceptions of, I think it was Saint Peter was said to drive the snakes out of the land.
Look at
Saint
China
Patrick,
with the dragon.
Saint
Look at China
Patrick
with the dragon and shit. The
Yeah,
dragon thing.
Saint Patrick drove the snakes out, and the snake could be he was representation of getting rid of the Druids. Okay, so the Catholic Church came in and abolished all the Druid quote unquote serpent knowledge that may have been passed down. Like Cage said, the serpent figure has been depicted throughout this whole world in different cultures. Like he said, the Far East in terms of the dragons that you see. Again, like we said before, if you look at conceptions from Central America and South America, the plume serpent gods that they worship and stuff like that. And like I said, depictions of the serpent in the Old Testament Bible. The serpent theme is strong, but the serpent seemed to be knowledge. Remember in the Garden of Eden, the serpent came, and one of the trees was the tree of good and evil. But the other tree was the tree of knowledge. You see what I mean? The serpent offered them the tree of knowledge. There's knowledge in the serpent archetype. And the serpent archetype has been suppressed throughout time. So, what does that tell you? What are they hiding from us, right? They demonized the serpent. They demonized the serpent, right? And they elevated the winged character, the overarching eagle structure. The eagle could be conceptualized as an overarching structure. The eagle soars higher than any other angle. What are they telling us? If the eagle goes higher than any other animal, any other thing, they're telling us that they're watching over us from a high. You see.
From a higher perspective.
Exactly. The eagle represents the tyranny. See, the eagle represents that they're seeing us through over the whole world, you know, where the serpent knowledge is more of this earth. And you can see these two archetypes going against and warring against each other throughout humanity. But again, it begs a question, why did they suppress the serpent knowledge and demonize it?
So anyway, that's my question is stewardship what differentiates a conscious mind versus a leech satanic devil that just wants to eat you alive, I guess.
Well, potentially. I mean, it makes sense. If they're not from here, then why would they care? You know, it's almost like if you look at exploitation, like, you know, exploitation of nature, you know, or look at mass deforestation and strip mining and stuff and clear cutting. Like, if you're just trying to extract as many resources as you can in as quick of a time as you can, do you really care, what kind of destruction it causes? We were saying before, this Earth evidences all kinds of mass excavation. It looks like we've been mined for some times. You can look at these big canyons and valleys, and you can look at these craters, so to speak, and some of these type of things, and you see evidence of advanced technology and natural resource exploitation on a mass level. We don't know what that is, and yeah, freedom. I mean, if they're not from here and they're just using this place to extract some type of resources, whatever that is, it makes complete sense. Why would they have stewardship over it? Who knows where they're from? Other lands, another dimension. It's likely, like we always said, there's likely many more lands on this Earth. They tricked us into a globe, right? So they just tricked our minds into thinking what the Earth really is, but it's likely much bigger. So who knows? Who knows what these people are up to? How long? I use the term people loosely. Whatever these beings are, how long they've been up to it, but. Getting on the theme, it seems as though there seems to be some kind of common theme of exploitation throughout our history. You can look at certain conceptions of this, the Sumerian conceptions and the some of these ancient Arada and Babylonian conceptions of the Anuna, and basically the creation of humans as a worker. These are some of the oldest writings on Earth, and they talk about the creation of human as a worker being. To mine gold. It didn't just have to be gold. So here's what I'm trying to say. The very first stuff ever written down that predated the Bible by 1,000 years talks about humans as being created as worker beings for these creatures. It's the very first stuff. It's the oldest stuff that's written down that we can see, but yet we all ignore that. What are they trying to tell us? They told us we were created for exploitation, to work for them. All right? Like I said, the stories you find of the Anunnaki or the Anuna painted in the ancient Sumerian culture, they wrote on what's called cuneiform tablets, which is basically clay that they baked, which is, basically stone. That's why it lasted so long. It's not like all the stuff we have, computers and papers and stuff, that'd be gone in no time. They wrote their shit in stone. If somebody takes trouble to write something in stone, maybe you should pay attention to it, people. What were they telling us?
Maybe we should write stuff in stone.
Maybe we should, man.
We should go carve it in the caves,
Yeah. Tell people what this Earth really is, because they got lied to. You tell people that this Earth shows no convexity. So if any other fucking assholes and cosmic motherfuckers want to come on and try to tell them they live in a globe at another time in history, people will know. It's completely ludicrous, people. It's completely ludicrous. But yeah, some of the earliest conceptions of human were of us as workers for these beings for whatever reason, man. And then you can see these conceptions even followed through the quote unquote Judeo-Christian traditions you find in the Old Testament or Torah. You talk about this. It's basically humans. We're servitude. How we have to serve God, serve the God of this world, right? Service to God. It's all these conceptions of humans of serving these beings. Who says who? We don't know who these beings are. It's like Ian and I were saying. You want to worship the creator of this world? They're like many creators. They tricked us that the creator of this world's God, folks. I said it a million times. They gave us 3 religions, and all those 3 religions are the same fucking God. It's like Coke or Pepsi, people. You want to be Jewish, Christian? You want to be Jewish, Christian, or Muslim? It's like Coke, Pepsi, and then the other generic brand. That's all it is, people. It's the same fucking shit. It's the same sugary, saccharine shit that they're fucking shoving down your throats. That's what religion is. Judaism, Christianity is Coke or Pepsi, people. It's that fucking simple. It's the same shit, just different fucking brand. You have an interest in treating your feed birds, your meat birds well. You have an interest in that, right?
Dude, I don't want to kill them.
Yeah, but you have an interest in
making
right. But you have an interest in tending to them, and like you said, whatever's seems to be controlling us has an interest in extracting some kind of negative energy from us. It seems like it feeds us off of our pain. And that's the question about what is this world like? What are these dark beings that seem to be feeding off of our pain and suffering? Because people think that a lot of people have a concept that all this stuff is about control for them and power. Like they just get off on having their big mansions and drinking pina coladas as we mow their lawn and stuff. But I think it's way more than that. It's not just about them having power over us so they can live these posh lives. It seems to be something way more than that. It seems to be something way more than just some kind of material wealth and material control and power over us. There seems to be a dark energy to this, you know. There seems to be some kind of dark energy extraction, you know, that feeds these things, whatever they are. I mean, the Bible calls them demons, you know. They're really just fallen angels, you
I got a
know.
question for you, Zetetic.
It's just it created itself. It's like just this negative energy collects, and it's this entity energy thing, and we're that vibration frequency is feeding it and making it bigger and bigger. And you know, we ought to do the opposite and bring it, you know, to the other energy and let that grow. So yeah, we don't need to know who's behind it. All we have to know really is that they are puppets being controlled by it or them. But we don't have to figure exactly who that is. People are too hung up on that. Klaus Schwab, all these guys are fucking puppets. What's controlling them? Who or when? Some interdimensional? I don't know, but that's not really what I'm searching for. That's for sure.
Because we all want a better world, you know. We don't want to live in a shit fucking satanic hell where a bunch of perverted sick fucks run around and try to rape our kids and steal our joy. But they have
Bro,
no joy.
that's what I've been saying. It's like people, there's shit all inside the house, and some people are like, hey, it doesn't smell so bad, or this shit is great. You know what I mean? Or maybe we can just tiptoe around it. Why can't we just take all this shit and get it the fuck out of here? That's my motto with this. No, it doesn't smell okay. No, it's not acceptable. We need to take this shit and get it out of here. And some people are so matrix that they literally say, hey, this is good shit. This is actually tastes pretty good. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Drop a bomb for yourself, man.
Because it does taste good, Ian. It does taste good. So does sugary sweet candy. Sugary sweet candy tastes good too, but is it nourishing? I'll ask you that. This world will try to trick you in so many ways with things that taste good, look good, feel good, smell good. This world will suck you in like that. Of course, that's the trick of this world. But how many things in your life have you followed that gratified the senses that turned out to be probably not the best choice, right? Think about that.
Poopy spoon.
You know,
you will be made to lick it, and you will be made to leave.
Sunkiss drop. That is a good one.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Is it? You know, they're of course, you know, they're gonna bring you in with the fancy cars, flashy stuff, get all the chicks, all the hot chicks. You know, they're gonna tell the women what it is to be, you know, what it is to be a woman in this day and age. They're going to tell them they need to work through their prime fertility years. They're going to sell them a dream that they could have it all, that they could be the doctor, the lawyer, plus mommy of 3, and that's not reality, folks. It doesn't work like that. That's literally impossible. Okay? It just doesn't work like that. You know, they're just selling a bunch of lies. It's completely anti-human. It's just a completely anti-human agenda, you know. And then again, you got to wonder who are these people and what's their goal. In a way, it really doesn't even matter who they are. You don't have to know. It's just, what are they doing to you, really? Are you being aggressed upon? If someone's aggressive, if you're walking down the street and someone aggresses upon you, do you give a fuck who that person is? No. You just defend yourself, right? So we're all here trying to figure out who the fuck's the people behind this, and we're just letting them do whatever they want to us. Well, not anymore. And like you guys were saying, man, the time is over. And I used to be. I was never this hopeful as I am now in these times, you know, because I am starting to see people realize what's going on. Like I said, and that's why they're going to sink the system. Trust me, guys, they're going to sink it, and they're going to sink it real fucking soon. I'm not promoting fear. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. They have to. If you can't see the signs, you're fucking blind. There's nothing behind the system. It has nothing. They have no power. Like I said, their currency is nothing. Their currency is based off nothing. It's an illusion. It's only based off your faith in it. Okay? Has nothing. They have no power at all. They have to sink it. They already extracted all the resources they need from us. They're not creative. We're the creative ones. They're co-opting our creativity and channeling it into them. They took everything they needed. They can't. Their Ponzi scheme is over. It has to fall. They're going to crash it on purpose, people. They've been preparing for it for years. You know.
I can't wait. It has to crash. How are we going to build something new if it doesn't crash? We got to get rid of it.
fuck them all anyway, you know. But they have, and over my lifetime, have encroached on that freedom, and that's why it's been something that's been like a little thorn in the side, you know. I feel like, you know, and that's what's led me to where I am now, you know. Here we are, right? Talking about the very fucking thing that's all holding us back from what we really should be, you know. Anyway, that's my point.
Well, Dean, they give us a system. All right, that we have no choice other than to contract with, because they make no other means of survival. And then they use that very system to control every single aspect of our life.
Yeah.
And infringe on us in ways that are an abomination to God. And that's why, Dean, that's why I know they're going to get it, because they overplayed their hand. Because they pushed God. And whether you're God's just a concept. God could be like, Dean, God could just be this world. God could be this earth.
God could be this earth. We are part of the whole, I think. We're all part of the whole. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've been pushed. And we no longer agree or consent to it. Yes.
Exactly. You know, your consent with this world was done under coercion. You were deceived into consenting to this world. You were lied to every step of the way about everything, every single aspect of this world.
You started this conversation earlier, and I'd like you to carry on and finish that. Yes, sir.
Well, Dean, I could just keep going all night. If you know what the thing is, dude? Because I look at a guy like you, Dean, and you're on the other side of the world from me, and I could look at you and see a guy who has the same challenges, the same victories as I do, because we're human and we can relate to each other as men.
Yep.
We can relate to each other as men who live on this earth, in this world that they created, and men who have challenges. So no matter what our cultural differences may be, we relate with each other because deep down inside we're exactly the same, you know. And guys like me and you, Dean, we've made a choice. We've made a choice that we'd rather not live in a world that's going to make us bow down to it. So before I bow down, I'd rather just fucking not be here. And trust me, if I'm not going to be here, I'm going to take a couple of you out on my way out. Trust me. They are trying to put us into this like non-human world, you know, where they're stacking us up and they're stacking us up. Think about humans existing like that, all stacked up on top of each other. Just really look. What if it was clear? What if you can see through those walls? Imagine the humanity you would see. It's just people shitting on top of each other. You know, bugs and roaches and smells and stuff. Humans aren't meant to live like that. That's not how we're supposed to live. Just a bunch of people being gross on top of each other. You know, all these families and people wife swapping and stuff, and everyone just being completely fucking sold over and lewd and stuff, right? I mean, it's not a natural construct. They're putting us in a world. They're engineering. They're engineering basically. They're pretty much engineering depravity. Okay, so they're engineering depravity. They're teaching all the women. They're teaching the women that empowerment means to be promiscuous. Okay, they're doing this. This is not human. What they're doing to us. Oh, there's Brian Stavely. That was cool.
Yeah, this was the thumbnail of our thing. But real quick, Lizzo, how you doing?
Hi, I am really good, thank you.
Okay, you seem cool. I just wanted to verify you.
Yeah, I'm a joker, but I'll calm down. I joke a lot. I like fun.
Okay.
I like fun element. But am I allowed to talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to hear you real quick before I show.
Oh, I thought I was live now. It's just what Z's on about the debauchery thing, man. He hit the nail on the head there. I lived my whole life as that. I don't know if am I main chat now live?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I'll give a quick breakdown. I don't want to go off challenge, but you hit something there about the life of debauchery. I lived 30 years of my life in debauchery as a sex worker. And I woke up 2 years ago by fluke. I was an NPC. I should not have awakened, and it screwed me up bad. So bad, the night I woke up, I picked up my phone and phoned Downing Street to talk to our Prime Minister, where I was freaked out about flat Earth and everything.
Did they answer?
No, they did not.
Did they pick up?
And I've never got an email. I expected a knock on the door from psychiatric because I am under psychiatric.
Oh, we're dropping a bomb.
I should not have been awake. I lived 30 years. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't really want anyone to get nasty to me because it takes a lot of balls to do this, and I kept my balls. But I lived 30 years as a female, and I'll tell you now, I never used their toilets or their bathrooms. And I am disgusted with the behavior of these people do. And I'm now on a program to get my life back in form and be a man again.
How do you identify? How do you identify this?
I still live at the moment. I've got an appointment. I've got an appointment in January to get the breasts removed. They gave me those breasts, and I was under psychiatric care at the time, and they gave me them, and they should not give me them. But we don't want to talk transgender stuff. I don't want to offend anyone.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever been diagnosed with schizophrenia? Schizophrenia?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I thought so.
Yeah, but I know it's morally wrong, and I committed a moral sin. But
No, you didn't. It's okay. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Lizzo, give Jay West, your microphone's fucked up. Lizzo, give your permission to forgive yourself. Give yourself permission because
my brothers do as well.
Yeah. Wasn't your fault. This wasn't your fault. What this world does to us is unconscionable. This world does crazy things to us.
I was birthed in the sex industry, so it's been around my life. So you know.
See what I mean? You had no chance. Of course, you were going to do it.
No,
what control did you have? You were a helpless child. You were a helpless child, and you needed somebody to love you, and they didn't. So I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Okay, it's okay, sir. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, you're here now with us, and we appreciate you coming up here. And
welcome home, man.
That means a lot. It means a lot. And it's, but I want to fight. I'm not against trans, but I don't want. Leave the kids alone. Just leave the kids alone. They give. If you're giving children pills you give to pedophiles to cut their sex drive down, there's something not right. You know, that's where I draw the line. You know, don't give kids hormone shit. You know. I'm sorry to put this in your show tonight.
No, it's okay. I was not
supposed to. Sorry. I wasn't supposed to be waking up, man. I should have still been asleep. You know. I was very disturbed when I.
How did you wake up? How did you wake up?
I was just going to ask that. Let's get into
Martin Lichter. I found him by sheer chance one night, and I just thought, "What the heck am I watching?" You know.
He's my good friend, right? He's my good friend, right?
When I watched the show, I was smoking weed, and I just thought, "Man, this is good stuff." I don't smoke anymore. You know, it's that serious. We're in a serious crisis in the world, and we need to have our heads on. You know. Because we need to stand strong together, and even me, I want to stand with my brothers and sisters and not be in a frock like a sissy in the back room. You know, it's time to stand up.
It feels good. You sleep better, right? When you're in that mindset, you sleep better at night, right?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. You sleep better.
Cool.
Because you're doing what's right. You know, you're doing what's right, and you sleep better. Maybe that's what it's all about, guys. Maybe it's just about getting a good night's sleep. Maybe that's really what it's all about. You do the right thing and get a good night's sleep. Yeah, this world is very simple. I'm going to be very honest right now. There's nothing more gratifying and pleasurable to the human experience than having a really good bowel movement. You wake up in the morning, you have a nice cup of coffee and have a good bowel movement. These are the things this is humanity. They're taking us out of our humanity. They don't show people go in the bathroom on TV, you know. They have these shows on TV like The Bachelor or Grey's Anatomy or these soap operas. You never see anybody taking a dump, do you? You understand? They're painting a picture that's not human. They're creating it. They're creating in our minds an idea that's not even human at all, and we're supposed to play into it. And they trick us to play into it, and then we start to hate ourselves. They make us hate ourselves because they create a false construct of what it is to be a human. They make you fucking hate yourself. These people are nasty fucking people. They're nasty. Lizzo, what do you do to bide your time and stuff like that? You know, what is your like, you know, what do you do to occupy yourself and stuff?
Well, I used to make puppets, marionettes, and I don't do a lot really. I don't do a lot. I'm sorry, it's a sad answer, but I don't really do a lot. I mean, I do music with my neighbor who's in my band years ago, and we do music.
Bro, you should make some puppets with like you know, Fauci on there and like Trumpy Dumpty and all your favorite Ass Clown Gong Show characters.
Would you waste your time whittling wood making those fuckers? No,
yeah, truth community, you eat it up though. I'd buy one just to do on my streams. Have a little chimp puppet.
I'm doing that, Freedom, by the way. So I'm making puppets as we speak. Yep, as we speak, I'm making puppets. I bought the materials today, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a good idea, man. I like that.
I was doing puppetry, and about 10 years ago, when I lived in Brighton, which is a crazy city, I was entertaining children with my puppets, and I knew something was wrong, and I could see it in the faces of the parents, and they're like, something ain't right about you. They didn't want a trans person doing puppetry, and I learned quick, don't entertain the kids, don't, you know. I was being nice and everything, but it's just like, I shouldn't even talk about it because I don't really know what I'm on about. That's just my paranoia, you know.
It's okay, Lizzo. Lizzo reminds me.
Art that I love.
Okay, one second. When you guys almost want to say something to new people.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so when you click the link, this is what pops up on your device, and then you could turn your camera off. You can mute yourself, put a name there. You can add an avatar up here, and then you say enter studio. That's when you pop up where I see you, and it's that easy. No account, nothing needed. So it's really simple. Give it a shot.
Hey, Lizzo, remember in the sound? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
You're making puppets? Seriously?
Yeah, I'm making puppets.
So which I gotta ask you a question. So which government heads you got on there?
What government?
All of
government? Them. I'm making it.
Who isn't a puppet? That's the question.
Yeah. They're all puppets. They're all fucking. That's why I'm making puppets, because they're puppets. Because they need to be made fun of, because they're literally puppets.
Dude, you should make puppets.
Make me
puppets out of us, you know?
Eat ice cream with her.
Lizzo, I always like that scene in The Sound of Music when all the children do the puppet. How awesome is that scene? I know you love it, right?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, when they sing what's it with the goat and everything, yodel, hee hoo, and all that shit. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah, that's cute.
It makes you feel good.
We want to make her. Yeah? I mean, she's tied to the wall now as Alpha, but you know, she's a proper marionette with the old. I love. It's
wow,
a treat.
You made that. Life. I could see how much detail is in it. I could see all the articulating joints and everything. Good job. That's really, guys. You see, that's a really good marionette. That's a real handmade marionette back there, guys.
Yeah, bring it to the screen if you can.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get her. Come here. Come on, girl.
What's her name?
Alpha. She was the first one made. Yeah. I want to get her arms right. There she is.
Alpha looks like she spent a little time in a red light district there, Liz.
Yeah, she's got the old loony Marty eye.
Alpha's got a certain attraction to her. You got good taste.
Right. She's
you got good taste.
She's cool. Yeah.
I'm strangely aroused by your marionette doll. I'm not gonna lie. OTW. You know you are too, OTW. You're just a little more quiet about it. That's all. I like the sunglasses. She looks real dirty. She looks like an ex-girlfriend I had.
What did I been walking on? She reminds me of my ex-wife, actually.
Glasses, like the one eyeglass. She's the Looney Marty girl.
Yeah, she looks like she's a good time.
That's pretty good.
You better hide her. You better hide her before she goes missing. We'll come looking for Z.
Oh, no.
Yeah, look out.
Just curious if the carpet matches drapes.
Your show's just got weird, Ian.
See, now he hid her now. He doesn't want you to get aroused too much, dude.
Yeah. Don't be jealous. It's okay.
I bet you didn't expect puppets on the show tonight, did you?
Yeah, but you got to make a Klaus Schwab puppet.
I've got enough wood.
I'm making a puppet for the next time I'm on Lead Keys. I'm gonna bring a puppet on. I'm not even joking. It's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away, but there's going to be puppetry next time I'm on Leakies.
That's great.
If you make a Klaus Schwab one, it'd be easy because you'd only have to use make a little tutu and it's done. You know.
Exactly.
That's the guy who wears the tutu. Yeah.
He wears the fucking tutu.
His name is Satan Klaus Anal Schwab.
Strange man. Strange man.
Exactly. We're gonna echo Peniel.
There's a big echo.
Yeah, I hear my voice enough. I don't need to hear it anymore.
You got a powerful voice there, boy. Really powerful.
I appreciate that.
Gold words.
Like I said, I'm just a guy who fucking sick of it. That's all. Well, here's the thing. That's why I think they got to crash the system. I was saying that before because at this point they have to crash it. They don't have any other choice, people. The gig is up. Like I said, their entire fiat system is based on nothing. It's an illusion. It's backed by nothing but your faith in it. Once your faith in their system is gone, the system disappears. They have to crash it. They have to.
Yeah, and it had no foundation in the first place. So yeah.
That's why I tell people, get off the system as quick as possible. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but start working your way off the system. Start building community. Start learning skills. Like I said, if you have community, this world will give you everything. When they shut this place down, if you have a functioning community, you got a shot. Okay, you got a shot. You don't have to prep. Learn skills. Meet people. Build communities. Build yourself. Build yourself as a person. Make you valuable in a world that values real things, not the world they have now. Make yourself valuable in a world where your skills are going to be rewarded. Because in this world, your skills are not rewarded at all. They're actually suppressed. In this world, they promote incompetence. They promote minions of the system. But that's not how it's going to be, folks. Get yourself together. Pull your pants up. Learn skills. Make friends. Okay? And get off the system day by day. You're going to have to give things up. That fancy car that you like that gets you all that trim, you're going to have to get rid of it, okay? You know, those fancy clothes that you like, you're going to have to probably get rid of them. Sorry. All right, that Netflix that's so addicting. That car that you have to have as you're working for the fucking man. Don't worry, dude. I was there too. Exactly. You have that nice car so you can work for them. They're fucking pigs, man. They're controlling the whole thing. You know, it's so insidious what they do. It's disgusting.
Well, I think as far as that goes, I reckon as long as it exists, we might as well use whatever we've got of it to make whatever we can of for ourselves when it comes, right?
I agree. You know, they put us in this system, so we might as well do the best we can in it. You know, we didn't choose to be in here. You didn't make a choice to be in the system, folks. You were born into it, you know. People say, oh, well, you made a choice to come into this world and stuff. Well, you may have, but we don't really know that for sure, you know. I don't know. I don't know if I would have chose to come in here.
What
you know,
we
maybe
do know, let's deal with what we do know. Yeah.
The best YouTubers that I like are the guys that are just some guy talking, you know, because you can, you know, a guy where you can look and say, oh, there's absolutely no agenda from this person. They're just a person talking, you know. They're the ones I like the most because the system has a way of co-opting you, bringing you into it, stuff. Even when you're not, even when you're aware of it, the system's always going to try to pull you back in. And some people say, well, what's the system? Oh, you keep talking about the system. What's the system? If I have to tell you what the system is, you got more work to do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the system is. All right.
Ooh.
I'll give you a hint. Yeah, I'll give you a hint. If you're using money, if you're using their money, that's the system. You want to know what the system is? Anything that involves their money. See, and people don't even have a conception of anything beyond the system. Do you understand? They just associate it with this world. That's why I like Voynich before. He made it a point to distinguish between the world and Earth. Because this world is their system. This Earth is where you live. You understand? They have people so indoctrinated they can't even have a concept of what it is to live without the system. So you want to know what the system is? Look at the money. How's that? We'll start there, people. I'll make it real fucking simple for the ones who need to fucking, you know, have a little bit of a booster seat. Look at the money. People who ask me what the system is. Sorry, Ian. Yeah, I came on. You're right. I came on YouTube to be fun. I wanted to make people laugh, but the more I'm out here talking, the more I'm realizing people just need to hear a fucking wake up call. Because people are just. It's like Ian said. Everything's a fucking big circle jerk. You look on TV, they're trying to tell you everything's fine and stuff. They're going to tell you whatever they want. And, it's time to get real, people. Look what they did to your children for the last 2.5 years. You think that's okay? You're going to let that go? But I'm not letting it go. I'm just telling you that right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then people will come along like, well, what does awake really mean? It's like, come on, guys. That's what people
Exactly. Like they're trying to bust your balls good because you have awake in your name, and stuff. Yeah. It's like you could that road can go down forever, people. You can go down those roads forever. I've been down most. Ian's like, I could tell Ian's like me, man. He's already been down a lot of these roads. So here's people talk about some of the stuff, and he could, he's like me. He understands where they came from. It's just he's been there already, a lot of these roads are just deceptions to take you outside of yourself. A lot of it. Even the religions, like I said, I'm not letting anybody off the hook. They gave you 3 religions, people. They gave you 3 religions, and they all worship the same God. What's that tell you? Come on.
Wow, dude. Because in the people that are in these, they all have the same. I always preach this. It's like they all think that this is the truth, and they always get, their God talks to them, and it's so, blah blah blah, and all this. Well, you guys all have a different truth and a different God, and you feel it so much. So, you know what I mean? Come on, guys. There can only be one creator with that, but I think we're on the path of the real truth that there's multiple creators, and the creator of this world isn't the creator you want to worship. You want to worship, or you want to recognize, not worship anything. You want to recognize the creator that created your consciousness, that uses the body to, as a vehicle. That part, the only part of you that's leaving the body. What and who created that is what I want to get to know and understand. But I don't want to worship nothing. I mean,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
and you don't have to hate the creator of this world. You don't have to hate anything. Just realize that might not be a being that you should be worshiping. That's really what it comes down to. You don't have to, guys. You don't even have to hate your enemies. If someone is attacking you and you defend yourself, or if you're in a conflict with somebody and you must vanquish your enemy, you don't have to hate your enemy to vanquish them. You understand, Ian? They keep us in our emotions, and that's the worst place to be in. If someone's your enemy, they might, they may be justified. We don't know who these beings are and what they're doing. They may need us for sustenance. Okay, just like Ian ordered sushi and he's going to eat that fish for sustenance. Just like I ate a chicken or whatever I had yesterday. I had to kill that chicken for sustenance. Well, what if we're sustenance for them? Are they bad? Are they evil if we're their sustenance? Did they just get fucked over just as bad as we did? See, these are the questions I ask now, Ian. You don't have to hate your opponent. You don't even have to hate your enemy. Just know they're your enemy. Act accordingly.
Hey, getting back to that real quick, when I first started YouTube a couple years ago, I was on the QAnon people and all these Trump guys. I would join their panels. Some people in the chat, they witnessed it. I would join their panels. I would go on their Zoom, and I would be the only one talking shit, saying, you guys are wrong about this guy. I said, even before this whole other thing started with him, the Operation Speed stuff, and then even after, I was always calling these guys out. And I said, you know what, guys? You mark my words. You know that I forgot this one big Q guy. I was talking to him and someone else, and I said, bro, after the election, you guys are all going to look lost with nowhere to go. And that's exactly what happened, dude. They're like, no, Trump's going to win, and we're going to turn this around, the white hats, all this stuff. Like, man, I was like one of the few that was against that.
Let me tell you something, Ian. Let me tell you something. I was there on that day, on January 6th. I was there, okay? I was there. Wow. I was there that day and watched Trump tell all his supporters to go down to that Capitol. And I watched them all go down. And I watched them all storm that Capitol and bust through their doors. And then I watched all those people get arrested and go to jail. Let me tell you, I didn't see Trump anywhere near those fucking people, but I saw all those people doing it and following those orders. So what did your beloved leader Trump, what did he really do for you? He led you into a fucking trap. I watched all these Q idiots fall right into a fucking trap.
Right, brother.
I watched them all storm the Capitol of this fake country in this fake occultic, ritualistic Washington, D.C. that's just a fucking big puppet show. And I watched all these Trump supporters and these Q people, on the orders from their fucking dear leader, charge the fucking Capitol like a bunch of indoctrinated people who thought they were actually performing some act of ultimate patriotism. Matter of fact, they were just falling into a trap. So all these Q supporters, you still want to support Trump after all this? After all that, you're still gonna fucking do it? I watched it with my own eyes, okay? And I've said this before online, so I don't care if I'll say it again. And like I said before, to any of you fucking spooks out there, last time I checked, it's not a fucking crime to be on a public street watching an event go down, okay? So before any of you fucking spooks think you're gonna come messing with me any more than you already are, just remember that, you fucks, okay? So any of you Q people who think you're gonna still keep supporting Trump, I want you to remember that moment when he led you all into a fucking trap and then let you all hang out to dry as you're all in fucking jail now, you fucking idiots. There's certain, if you look at, we think of humans and we think of ourselves and we have an idea of what it means to live a human life in this realm on this earth, right? And we live to be 100 years old at the most or whatever. But if you look at ancient stories, humans supposedly lived to be a lot older, right? The oldest person ever to live in the Old Testament was like 950 some years old. He's almost 1,000 years old. I think it was Methuselah. Here's my point. Like, at some point, if that's true, and I think there's a strong possibility that it was, it says that long life was reduced after the flood, after whatever great deluge there may have been. The deluge depicted throughout all the cultures. It's commonly known as Noah's flood. Our lives are supposed to have been downgraded to the lives we live now, these relatively short lives, if you compare it to 1,000 years. What if something changed after that? What if there was no reincarnation? What if you lived 1,000 years here and you had the opportunity in that one lifetime, and then something happened after the deluge or whatever that transition was that changed what it is to be a human, and now we get recycled back? What if it is the moon? There's conceptions that there was no moon in this world before. Like we think of the sun and the moon working together as dipoles, as polar opposites. In some way, electromagnetically balanced in this world. But there's conceptions in lore that the moon didn't exist before, that we lived in a world that had no moon. Some older cultures refer to the moon as sin. They call moon and sin are analogous with each other. What do I mean? If the moon could be involved in some kind of fall from some kind of other state of man, they talk about the Saturn-Moon matrix as the mechanism for the soul trap, okay? This isn't just New Age stuff. This comes from older stuff that's only been discussed now. So it's possible that there was a time where we're humans, where we're just completely different humans, and maybe there was no soul trap. Maybe it was a completely different thing, and it was in some way taken over, hijacked. I'm not sure. They give us this westernized philosophy, and when you're presented with a figure named Descartes, the famous quote, I think, therefore I am, right? Everybody knows that, everybody's taught it. I just said I think, therefore I am, and every single person who's listened to my voice has heard that before. It's pumped down our throats. Well, think about it. Is it really the thinking that gives you your M-ness? Because a computer could think, Or is it the ability to choose that makes you significant? Does your M-ness come from free will and choice? Because to me, free will is the only thing that separates us from that predeterministic conception of nothingness and nihilism. So I'd agree with Voy. It really does come down to the choices that we make, The idea that we truly have autonomy and the ability to make an actual choice, that may be the one thing that actually defines our humanity. So is it really I think, therefore I am, or should it be I choose, therefore I am? To me, that's a much better philosophy. A lot of the occult knowledge talks about the Akashic records. I'm sure a lot of people know about it, but they supposedly exist in the astral realm. It's basically every record of everything ever, you know, like you're saying, everything might be recorded somewhere in some way, and the ancients knew about it. They talked about it before even computers were even, you know, theorized, obviously, if we're to believe any of our history. But you know, there's stories about great geniuses in history. There's an Indian math genius called, I believe his name is Ramanujan or something like that. Ramanujan. He was a super math genius, apparently, if we're to believe this story. And he told that all his genius and all his equations came from dreams that he would have. And again, he was a Hindu. He was Indian, so he was Hindu. And he said a particular god would come to his dreams and give him these equations and stuff. You know, the guy lived in just a very meager village, and he was apparently this great genius named Ramanujan. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but my point is, it's quite possible that all the information in this entire reality, universe, whatever you want to call it, does exist in the abstract. It's there, and then we can tap into it. That's why I believe also that right and wrong exist in the abstract. You know, there's a conception that there is no abstract or objective right and wrong. There's a theory. There's theories that right and wrong is just a construct of basically social mores or your culture. You know, that right and wrong are subjective somewhat, but I tend to think right and wrong do exist in the absolute. If there is such a thing as Akashic records and holds all the records of this entire universe that could be accessed, you know, that shows to me some other objective reality in this world. So I always like to paint to these mystical things because this world is trying to tell you a certain thing. It's trying to tell you that you evolved. It's trying to tell you live in an ever-expanding universe with millions of galaxies, and it's trying to tell you there's no God and you're nothing, basically, and you're no different than a particle. They talk about evolution. There's a conception called abiogenesis. All that means is they tell us that we evolved from basically a piece of sand, a particle. You see what I mean? They're trying to make you think like you're an accident, and you're not. You know, you're not at all. So that's where we once you can reject that concept that you're not an accident, it opens up a whole new way to think. And I would encourage people to do that more. You know, look at your world, break through the indoctrination, look at reality as it is. Have the courage to accept the evidence that you find, even if you're faced with uncomfortable feelings, cognitive dissonance, you know, even if it's tough for you to face reality, do it. You know, get rid of your indoctrination. Look at this world a little bit differently. You might see you live in a very, very different place than it was presented to you. And it's one that's quite mystic and magical.
Shout out to Sun. Burgos has said something cool that I agree with. Shout out to Dean, everyone in the chat. I believe everything around us, past, present, and future, is a script except us and what we decide to do.
I mean, that could be. I mean, that's on the table. You know, it's quite possible this whole world is just a reflection of ourselves that we're experiencing collectively. I know we can't conceive of what that is, but if we look outside of the bookends of what our indoctrinated conception is of this world, or our indoctrinated perspective of this world, it could be possible. It could be possible that this is a projection. It's just a mirror, you know, and you literally are creating it. It's, you know, it's kind of out there to think like that, but it's there's a lot of things that show that. You know, if you're having a bad day, or how's this? If you're presenting a certain attitude to the world, did you ever notice how that world starts to present that same attitude back to you? You know, if you're presenting good vibes and stuff, the world has a funny way of showing that to you. It's weird, you know. It may just be a projection of ourselves, people. It's quite possible.
Yeah, and I'll something I said in the last stream, and it was crazy. One day, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what it was, but I was vibing high, people. Had this great energy that was just like, wow. I went out to the store, a few stores shopping. I went to work, and I swear to God, people, or what I swear to the, you know, whatever, that people I didn't even know, people I've never even talked to, were coming to me like, hey, how are you doing today? Like, there was this extra interaction from people with me that I've almost never experienced in my life. when I was vibing like that. So it really created some vibe with people. Like there was these all these connections going on. I was like, wow, I was blown away, people. You know, I was blown away.
That's why we always say it's an inside game. You know, people want to know how to change the world. You want to change the world, change yourself. You know,
Exactly.
Look at the people. Look at the people trying to change the world. The people trying to change the world. Look at Bill Gates trying to change the world. Look at Klaus Schwab trying to change the world. Look at all these. Look at Elon Musk trying to change the world. All these people trying to change the world are fucking psychopaths. You know, change yourself. You want to do something real in this world. Look inside yourself and change yourself, and the world might have a funny way of responding to it, people.
You know, but I want to respond to what you just said, Zetetic, because it creates controversy in my mind. Because what it does is it's saying to me, well, if the reality that I'm living in is a projection of myself, then how come I'm at war with myself?
It's a great question. I ask myself that same question all the time. The eagle and the serpent symbolism, like almost Christos was saying, goes through so many cultures across humanity and across our history. You see that the serpent and eagle represented all through. A lot of people say it comes down to the depictions of, again, with the Sumerians. You look at the incarnations of the gods. They called them the Anuna, commonly known as the Anunnaki to us, but they were called the Anuna. The Anuna meant those from which heaven came. Okay, they were the Anuna. It means coming from heaven. You see an archetype of two brothers. You see Enki and Enlil. Okay, Enlil is typically represented as the eagle. You could also see the Enlil representation as Yahweh in the Old Testament. Enki is typically depicted as a serpent. Again, they were brothers. In the Old Testament, you can see the serpent representation as Satan or the devil. You see, this is what I'm trying to talk about: how the eagle and the serpent representation runs through our entire history, started through the Sumerians, and then seen in the later incarnations and what's presented to us as the Torah of the Old Testament, particularly Genesis. The eagle and the serpent symbology runs through all the way. If you look at the Central and South American cultures, you'll see the eagle and serpent representations all around that. You can see there was a depiction of the Mexican flag where you see an eagle capturing a serpent. If you look at all the different serpent gods in South and Central America, you look at Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl. These are plumed serpent gods. Okay?
Even Zeus would transform into what?
An eagle.
There you go.
Zeus is also a later representation of, again, the eagle figure, potentially the Enlil figure. You see these different gods represented throughout history and stuff. You see their offspring. Okay, you see this. The eagle and the serpent were apparently brothers. Enlil and Enki were apparently brothers. You understand what I'm trying to say? God and the devil were brothers, people. They're probably bloodline brothers that fell from somewhere. This is deep stuff, people. You understand? It's not always was presented to you, man. We're looking at stuff that you have to look outside of the. You got to look outside of the lens that was created for you and really look at these stories for what they are. Why do the eagle and the serpent keep getting represented throughout history? It's like Christos said. They used the eagle all the way up through the Roman Empire, then through the Nazis in the Third Reich, and then through America and everything. That you could see the eagle represented everywhere. You know, there's a lot of understanding that the serpents contain the knowledge. You can look in stories of like Ireland. You can look at the Druids. The Druids in Scotland. Likely, when you look at the Druids all throughout the British Isles in Scotland and Ireland and the northern parts of Britannia, you see the Druid history. They were serpent history. They had a lot of knowledge. You see serpent knowledge suppressed throughout all humanity. You see an active effort to suppress the serpent knowledge. You understand? That serpent eagle dichotomy runs throughout history. So seeing this picture makes perfect fucking sense. You know, you have the as above, so below representation here. It makes sense. You know, a lot of people say that the eagle is not actually supposed to be an eagle. It's actually supposed to be a plumed serpent dragon, right? So you have one of the brothers has wings, and the other brother was bounded. They're both serpents, but one of the brothers was bounded to the earth. That would be the Enki representation or the Satan archetype. A lot of people think it was the Enki or the Satan archetype that actually engineered humanity. And his brother Yahweh or Enlil, depending on which conception you want to look at, was unhappy with the creation and tried to wipe us out with the flood. It's also said that the serpent representation of Enki or Satan actually saved Noah. And Noah could have been a genetic relation to the Enki figure. Noah could have been some kind of demigod, not real human. Remember, it said Noah and his Noah was the last man to live 900 years. After the flood, we were downgraded. That's what I'm trying to say. So humanity might have been quite different at that point. And, it's not what we're told, people. I'm telling you stuff. This is probably Methuselah lived to be 959 years old. That was Noah's grandpa. Noah lived to be 900 after that. There's a lot of conceptions that he's related to the ancient Sumerian stories of you can look at Zayasuthra. There's a story in the Sumerian stories about Zayasuthra's flood. Okay, you can see that represented in later depictions of Zoroaster. You can also see Asian depictions in the figure of Gilgamesh. Okay, I'm trying to paint a story for you people. All right, I'm gonna chill for a second.
It's funny.
Well, and what does Shaitan do? He wants you to eat your children, or that's what he did. Eat the children, right? So it's like that's why they feed us baby tissue. that energy's still here.
Well, blood worship and blood sacrifice runs throughout history. You can look at Baal. You can look at Baal worship in ancient Babylonians. Again, you can go back to Central and South America, look at human sacrifice. You can look at all the weird stories we hear about all the elites and controllers of this world and things they do with blood. I won't even mention it, but there's a strong history of blood, some kind of power in the blood. I think there's power in blood magic. Magic is really just intention and energy, right? You just have to have an intention and set energy behind it. So blood energy, but it's a cheap kind of magic. It's a dirty magic, There's lots of kinds of magic. You use elemental magic, you use chaos magic. Chaos magic is really strong, people. You study chaos magic. There's a lot of energy in chaos. Chaos is a whole topic. But they use a kind of weird blood magic. It's like a dirty, but yeah, you can see it throughout the whole history, Something about me is real hell-bent on going after like the god of this world and stuff. I don't know. I'm just kind of, because it's so sad to me, because it seems as though, like I always say, like they constructed our idea of God. Like they told us what God is, and we're just supposed to buy into it.
So I like to live my life like when everything's predetermined. Maybe we're reliving the lives that we live. We're in the future and we're just experiencing what happened again because we're bored. Like, let's just do it all over again and experience. Like, that's on the table too. But I can't live my life like everything's predetermined. And then you just accept anything. If you think of it as a blank page, what's an easier way to live your life in as much fullness as you can? Having a blank page that you're writing every step you make, or just a pre-written script?
Yeah, right. Well, Ian, we're contemplating hold on, Triple R.
Pride mixed with ego.
Hold on, bro. 1 second.
No, you got it.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Ian, we're contemplating the greatest question ever. I mean, this is the question that all the philosophers of, this is the fundamental question of humanity. It's basically, if you look at classical philosophy, they classify it as between determinism and free will, basically. So, the idea that there's really no free will and everything's just particles colliding and it's all just dominoes falling. It's going to play out like an equation. That's a philosophical principle that's been seen through antiquity. And it's again, we can't really know anything, but it's a pretty nihilistic way to live. I mean, I always put it like this: do you want to live in a world like that? Because if that was truly the way this world was, what's the point of even doing anything, right? You take yourself out of it. And the thing is, if you take yourself out of this world, are you not evidencing free will? Is hitting the delete button the ultimate evidence of free will? But you can say, well, that doesn't matter. It was always going to happen. That was determined for you. You can go back and forth through eternity. That's why I think in the end, it really comes down to, what's your experience in this world? What does this world tell you? Because I see a world of synchronicities. I see synchronicities happen in my life all the time. I see when I think about something and I put energy behind it, I see that thing manifesting in my life. So, I see evidence that I'm a conscious creator. I can't speak for anybody else, but that gives me a little bit of indication what I think this place is. I do resonate very strongly with Triple R in terms of the idea of looking at oneself. If you want to discover what this whole reality and universe is about, really, just look inside. That's your only chance of doing it. Because everything outside is probably an illusion and a deception anyway. On purpose, And then what Christos was saying about the God of this world, maybe that might not be a deity that you want to worship, really.
Definitely
who knows?
not.
But yeah. But Ian, as far as you were saying with the multiple creators, right? Like the creator of this world likely had a creator, or the idea that the creator of this world had a creator, or the creator of our spirit may not be the same being as the creator of this world, you know? And you were saying even, you know, as humans, we evidence the ability for creation, you know, like you're saying, people create things, you know? So the idea that there's almost like an infinitely fractal reality where, you know, each creation makes their own creation. It could go all the way down, you know, it could be. I'm starting to see in more of a reality that's fractal, that just keeps going on and on into infinity. It's like we were saying before, we have mountains on this world that were basically tree stumps, and we have tiny parasites that look like huge dragons, you know. What kind of world could this be other than a fractal world? So why not have fractal creators creating their own world, you know? That's not a crazy concept to me at all. I think it's fascinating, actually. I think it's quite possible. I think it's possible. Look, they
If I could
gatekeep
punch
people.
one person, it would be Neil deGrasse Tyson, though.
Would you say you'd punch him?
If I could punch one person on Earth, it would have to be Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I would love to see that, Flow State.
I would knock the shit out of him. He is so condescending.
Yeah.
And just smug.
Flow State, how about when he dropped that microphone to try to prove gravity? He just dropped the microphone and said that's gravity. What a piece of shit.
I mean, like, he's supposed to be like a lead academic, but every time he answers the question, it's like, well, how do we know that the Earth is round? Because we've always known it's round, you know. Like, he's just like, he doesn't answer the question. He just condescends.
He's a literal moron. Look,
Didn't
how
he say it
insulting
was
is
an
it?
oblate spheroid?
He's an oblate spheroid. Look at that fucking tubby bastard. Listen, man, the balls that they had to put that dumb son of a bitch out as the guy to define our fucking reality, like that's the balls that this fucking system has. They put out literal morons and present them as geniuses. Elon Musk.
I was just about to say that.
Dude, could you imagine like Witsit Gets It doing a fucking debate with Neil deGrasse Tyson? How
It'd be
much he
hilarious.
wiped the floor with that motherfucker?
Mm-hmm. It's such a fucking joke.
They'd never let him near each other because it'd just be, you know, he would vanquish him from this realm.
These
Well,
people
I
are
think
just
Brian Stavely would probably blow him out of this
Oh, he'd do
world too.
great.
Friggin' yeah, he'd do great, man.
Yeah,
Like
he
I
went
said-
down the flat Earth. He focuses more on the Mandela these days, but he knows all his flat Earth. He's definitely got it down.
Look, once you see the reality, once you see that this whole world evidence is level and horizontal, you can't unfucking see that, people. Once you realize that this whole earth that we can see, that we can observe, measure, and repeat, once you see that that world is completely level and horizontal, you can't unsee it. There's no way to fucking unsee that, man. And here's the problem. If you see that and you're lying to yourself, you got a real big problem. That's the worst thing you could do. I don't blame people who are unaware of it, but once you see it and you fucking trying to pretend like that's not, that you're insane at that point. You know what I mean? That's the thing, because it's so simple. It's the most simple thing ever, people. Everything's just level and flat. That's it. It's not hard. Bodies of water show no evidence of convexity. I could say this over and over and over again until I'm blue in the face. There's a million ways to prove that too, but that's the overriding principle, okay? This earth shows no convexity. Any way you fucking look at it, all right? I don't care what formulas you use. You can go out forever. People say, oh, what if it's just a bigger globe? Well, how's their model work if it's a bigger globe? We're told it's a certain force of gravity based off the size of the earth, people. Get a grip. Oh, maybe it's just a bigger globe. That doesn't make any sense. Stop fucking saying stupid shit like that. I'm tired of it. The earth is level and horizontal. That's it. But I do think it really does come down to, it really is. We keep coming back to it. And like, if you look at all the ancient philosophers, because that's what we are here. We're philosophers. We're not conspiracy theorists. That's
No,
just a
we're
label they
philo-
gave us. We're philosophers.
We want to
But
know. We want to know. We want to know.
Exactly.
And the only thing that there is to know is the truth. So therefore, we are philosophers. Definitely.
Exactly.
Per
So
definition. Per definition. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's not let them stick their labels on us, because we're the ones that are actually talking about what this place really is.
Yeah.
You think anybody? You think anything in the system? You think in these colleges anything's going on like that? You think they're talking about anything real? Is it just Jesuit-run
These
institutions?
people look up to the conversations that we have, dude. They do.
Oh, I know they do. Boy, I'm finding it out more and more the last week or two. That they pay real good attention to us because they have no creative power. And I'm talking to you fucks that you control this place. I know you got no creative power and you're using us for our creativity. And I feel bad for you because of that.
They don't even have discernment, let alone creative power, let alone, I mean, if you don't even have discernment, you're not even going to be inspired, because it's all one goo to the people that are never inspired. And the people that are never inspired will never inspire anybody else either. I mean,
exactly. That's why their system has nothing for us.
Yeah.
You know, they have nothing for us. They're just mining it. Guys, their whole fiat currency that we use was just created to mine our energy. You understand? Look what they do with the money and stuff. You think we're prospering? Look at all these so-called technical advancements that we have in our society, and look at humanity. Do you think we're better off? Do you think they're helping us? Look at your family? Do you think your family's doing better?
I'm in a cult. I'm in a cult. Right?
A cult of culture. They're in a cult of culture. That's what culture is, man.
We call it. That's why we call it culture. And some people don't think like it's culture, dude. We've been cultivated. We're living in a culture. A culture is related to the word cult. I mean, that's how simple it is.
Wait, what were you gonna say, bro? Because I was about to get passionate, so I want to make sure. You're about to say.
Who, me? No, that's it. I'm just saying, you know, that what I'm just trying to say is, basically, they give us nothing. They use their money to siphon our energy. Whatever these controllers are, whoever you think they may be, it seems quite evident that they use us for some kind of purpose. We're being manipulated in some way. Overarchingly, I always say there's no countries. They made that up. There's just one overarching power. It might be bloodline families, but either way, they're using us for a purpose. I got news for you guys. If they wanted to kill us, they would have killed us a long time ago. Right? So stop the fear porn about they're gonna fucking kill us and stuff. They could kill us anytime they wanted this whole time. If you know what I'm saying. You don't kill if you're a cattle farmer. Why would you kill all your cattle? Your cattle are valuable. Okay, your cattle have value to you. They call us goyim. You understand? If they wanted to kill us, they can kill us, people. They're just keeping us domesticated for a purpose. I'm trying to say something to people. Maybe just one person's going to hear what the fuck I'm saying. Voy obviously knows. I'm not speaking to Voy. He fucking knows. Christos knows. Everybody in here knows.
I'm not even listening, dude. I'm not even
exactly because he fucking knows. Exactly. I'm speaking to the person out there who doesn't know this. They're not just going to kill the thing that sustains them. If they wanted to kill us, they would have did it. They're using us. They're siphoning our energy. The main way they do it is they create fiat currency. They created the means in which we exchange our energy. Do you understand? We don't need money, people. You don't need money. You understand? Your economy doesn't mean money. Your economy is the value that you present to society and to the world. There's many ways you could be valuable. Okay, they co-opted that. They created a fiat currency to siphon off our energy. They call it currency. What else is current? Electricity, people. It's called currency. They have to encode their words right in front of you. They're perpetrating huge lies. You know what it is, guys? Rick, tell me what you think it is that they make the lie so big that it's almost inconceivable that a lie that big could be perpetrated, and people can't see the magnitude of it. It's so big.
It's like, dude, it's like you really think this one guy is behind SpaceX, Neuralink, Starlink, the Boring Company. You know what I mean? What else?
It's completely absurd to think that that's even possible. It's completely absurd to think a guy can do that and still have to eat and go to the bathroom and wipe his ass and take a shower and stuff. It doesn't add up, guys. Really think about it. Think that makes sense. Do you think the president really runs anything?
Oh, Tesla. That's the one I forgot.
Come on,
Tesla,
see,
yeah.
Sleepy Joe. I think he has a hard time running his bathtub.
Come on, look what they're presenting us. They're presenting us a completely fake. Guys, the city of DC is just an occultic, ritualistic, like sigil magic city. They encoded sigil magic into a city. It's likely based on certain geometrical patterns that harvest energy, if you want to know the truth. Look at the big obelisk they have right there and all the buildings surrounding it. Look what they make these buildings out of. We talked about how stone and crystal carries energy and information. You can encode it and embed energy in it. Well, look at DC. Look at the Vatican, people. These are energy structures, all right? They created these energy structures around the world to harness energy in somehow. They're not what they're told. Look at all the cathedrals around the world. They presented it to us as we built them to worship a certain deity. But in reality, what may have these cathedrals been, when you really look at them, they exhibit specific harmonic resonant frequencies that evidence that they were likely used as energy, some type of energy generators or receivers for whatever purpose. Okay, you can look at the structure of them all around this world. This world was not what they told you. They likely knew how to harness the ether, and they had free energy. They had to squash it. The Tesla coil is real. The principles behind the Tesla coil is completely real, guys. It works off electrical resonance. It works in theory. At least it's demonstrable. Not the bullshit theories they give us, the fake theory of special relativity. And Einstein's theory of E equals mc squared is a complete joke. The bending and warping of space-time makes zero sense whatsoever. How do you bend and warp a concept? It doesn't make sense, people. We're talking about applied science. We're talking about applied science. You understand? That's what we're talking about here. You know, science isn't debatable. You know, you don't debate science.
That's because
you
they
do
try
research.
To bend and warp your mind. That's what they try to
exactly. Do. It's what a crazy place, man. But getting back to the Vatican and all that in DC, guys, there's city-states. There's 3 city-states. Some people might notice, but not everybody. There's 3 city-states in this whole world, okay? You got DC, yeah, Rick, exactly. You got DC, Vatican, and the city of London. When I say the city of London, I don't mean London. Within London, there's another city. It's autonomous, self-governing structure that doesn't go by the rules of Britain. It's called the City of London, just like DC. It's autonomous. DC's District of Columbia. It's not really a part of the country. It exists otherwise because they can use other laws. They're using metaphysical laws, using mysticism, and they're using what's called admiralty law, the law of the sea. And really, we all are governed by that law because we're all sovereign individuals. Really, you know, we're all individual entities, but they have these 3 cities, okay? DC, the City of London, and the Vatican, okay? These are the 3 wings. These are the 3 wings of their structure, okay? They use the Vatican as the religious wing. I told you the Vatican overruns the Jews, the Jewish culture, the Christians and the Muslims. Guess what, guys? They're all being run right from the fucking top by the Vatican. Bingo, okay? Right through Israel. It's not hard. You want to know if it's the Jesuits or the fucking Zionists? It's both of them. They both worship the same God, okay? So here's my point. All roads lead to Rome, okay? Rome was over Jerusalem when Jesus existed, all right? All roads lead to Rome. Well, here's my point. The Vatican, the city of Vatican, okay? Vatican is an independent city, okay? Again, it's autonomous from Italy and Rome. Vatican's really its own country if you really look at it. Here's my point. It has its own everything. The Vatican is the religious arm of this system. The financial arm is the City of London, okay? That's where all the finances are done. Look no further than our small-headed friends if you want to go there, and I'll just leave it there, okay? And the military arm is the city of DC, okay? They yielded their one world order through their military arm of the one world order through America and through DC, okay? This is how they wielded their power and to control this whole world. Now they're going to crash the whole thing, people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're going to crash it down. They're just going to bring it all fucking down. They're going to close everything down. They're going to cut off your electric. They're going to cut every fucking thing off. They're going to smash you back to the Stone Age. And then they're going to create their order out of that chaos, okay? That's their alchemy. It's order out of chaos. This is what they're doing, people. I'm not saying this to make you fearful. I'm saying this so you can prepare. I'm saying this so you know now, so you can get off their system. You can stop using their currency. You can build communities, learn skills. This earth gives you everything you need. You don't need anything else. It provides everything you need. This earth gives you food. It gives you shelter. And it gives you health. You just need communities to make all that happen. The system gives you absolutely nothing, okay? So don't be fearful, okay? Just start planning. They don't want us talking about this stuff. They don't want us getting together. Look at everything they do to disconnect us from the sun. Like, you look at daylight savings time and stuff like that. You switch your clocks twice a year just to mess you up with your rhythms with the sun. That's absurd. To change the time twice a year, it's insane that they do that.
Off balance, yeah.
And they give us some bullshit story about farmers and commerce time. It just doesn't make any sense. Our whole conception of time is screwed up. If you really want to look how time works, look no further than the sky. The sky dictates what time is, guys. Seconds are just a construct. You think of a second, that's only a division. That's only they divided it up. Same thing with an hour. These things are constructs. And notice they didn't use a decimal. They didn't use a decimal version. Yeah, why do you think there's 60 seconds in an hour? It's to screw your ability up to perceive time. This is how they do stuff, people. They're insidious in their plans. It's so amazing. They gave us these instead of celebrating natural holidays that go around the harvest season, the moons, the solstices, the equinoxes. These are natural times of celebration for humans, usually associated with different events in human economy, like harvest season or the killing season or things like that. As a human, your life is dictated by the seasons, and they took us out of that. They give us these fake holidays. They make us identify with the system for everything. It's so insidious. See what I'm saying? They pull us out of nature. So instead of celebrating the winter solstice, we celebrate some silly Christmas idea of Santa Claus and make it goofy and about economy. But really, what are you really celebrating? What time is that really? It's the winter solstice. It's really the rebirth of the sun. Okay, think about it. So they gave you Christmas, the birth of the Son of God. What is it really? The sun is being reborn again. It's going from its lowest point in the sky, and also it's going from the least daylight of the year, and it's rebirthing into a new year, a new cycle. You see what I'm saying? So they made the rebirth of the sun about the birth of some son of religion. They've co-opted nature. They've taken us away from our true humanity and being in touch with this world. It's the same thing to do with the medicines. Nature has all the medicine you ever need. It has everything. But what do? They build these corporations. They hide behind these dead entity corporations. They suppress real knowledge into medicine, and they give us poison. For what? And we're supposed to keep listening to these people and following their leadership. What kind of leadership is that? They're leading us right into destruction. It makes no sense. They're doing everything they can to take us away from nature. Look at how they make us live in these houses and apartments and stuff. It's so disgusting. They put us in these cubicles. They make us all we have to all do our 9 to 5. You don't have to listen to these people anymore. They have no authority over you. And like we're talking about, like a good way to get in touch with yourself is get in touch with nature. Just go for a walk. Do something. Like we were saying before, put your feet in the ground or something. Get back in nature, man. You might learn something. There's a lot to learn in nature. Nature has rules. You should learn from them. They've given us a fake construct of rules under their system, but it really only benefits them. The rule of nature is about power. Okay? It doesn't just mean stronger. There's lots of ways to wield power. You can wield power in groups. You could outwit somebody. You can use guile and trickery. You could use brute force strength. You could use your intellect. There's a lot of ways to yield power, but make no mistake, this world is about power and power only. Any construct of leadership that is void of power is no leadership at all. It needs to be taken down and destroyed. These people have no power. They built a fake system based on nothing. Nothing at all. All we have to do is stop complying and it instantaneously falls. We just have to do it all together. That's the kicker. They have no power whatsoever. But what happened in the last 2 years? We just watched people comply to the system. We watched all the authority figures just go along with it. We watched neighbors turn on neighbors and families turn on each other. Look what they've turned us into. Just because they treat us like cattle doesn't mean we are. Do you understand, people? Just because we're domesticated doesn't mean that's our natural state. Did you ever see a lion in a zoo? You think that's his natural state? Do you think the lion you see in a zoo is anything close to the way a lion really is? Well, that's you. Look in the mirror. That's you. You're caged up in a fucking zoo. If you act like a domesticated animal, it's because you've been treated like one. Just wake up to it. Realize who you really are.